Hey everyone, come in. We're going to get started shortly, but I just wanted to hop on and give people time to get on. And if you are already on, let's start dropping where we're from in the comments below. Let me know where you're joining from. Let me see. Hi. I'm going to give people about a minute to just get on. I hope everyone is having a beautiful Wednesday wherever the world finds you. So, hi. Give people another minute. It is a beautiful day where we are, and I'm so grateful that the weather is finally evening out and giving us hints of spring and summer. So yes, and if you don't know who I am Meagan, the CEO and founder of Women Rock Wings, and this is Cleared for the Story, our first live. And we're just going to give people a few more minutes to hop on. If you are watching, just drop in the comments. Let us know what state, what country. Some people love to represent their city. Where are you from? We want to know who is watching today. Let me see. We have Rotary Ray. Oh, wow. Jamaica is in the building. Let's go. That is so exciting. Hi. I should say where I'm at. I'm actually in New York. I'm from Brooklyn. So that's where we are filming from today. So hopefully as the conversation series grows, we'll be able to film in different locations. That's the goal. And it'll be more of a film series, but we wanted to just hop on today to say hello. Let everybody know what the series is going to be about, and hopefully it's something you enjoy, but not just something that you enjoy, but something that it will be impactful for your life. So once again, my name is Meagan Hobson. I am the CEO and founder of Women Rock Wings. Women Rock Wings was founded about, oh my gosh, time is flying, 5.5 years ago. And I started the page initially because when I began flying around 2019, 2020, COVID hit and we could not fly obviously in person anymore. So a lot of studying started being replaced in person with being done online. And as I got more into flying, I noticed that there weren't a lot of stories being told about women that looked, in aviation overall. And honestly, the page really just started because I was looking forward to just highlighting women and the various facets of aviation. And even though I started flying around 2018, 2020, I actually have been in aviation for way longer. I started out as an aircraft electrician. I used to fix the KC-10 extender, yes, in the Air Force. And even then, when I started, I was the only female in my class when I started and graduated. So it was a very interesting experience to not see any other women, whether they were women of color or just women, period, but being the only one in my class. So when I began flying years later, I noticed that the demographic in the aviation field was pretty much still the same. Obviously, there had been groups that I did not know about, like Women in Aviation, Sisters of the Skies, the 99s. And even when I was an electrician, an aircraft electrician, no one really told me this information either. So as I began Women Rock Wings, it went from not only wanting to highlight women's stories, but just be a hub for women to also know about resources. And that's where we are today. So Clear for the Story is really a show about women in aviation, but not the way people may expect. And we're not only here to talk about the many, many achievements of women in aviation and their resumes and all the things that they have accomplished and created. We're also here to talk about the stories behind the story, not the one that you see all the time. And so I'm kind of here today, as you know, a little bit with my own. But a quick word in house, if you haven't yet, we also have Women Rock Wings digital magazine, which is quarterly. So if you would like to ever engage with the magazine and the community, it's amazing. Right now, our current issue is the legacy issue with the story of Captain Beth Powell as our cover. If you don't know who she is obviously a captain. She's at American Airlines, but she also created the documentary Queen of the Skies about Bessie Coleman with I love you too. Hi, Beth. With Bessie Coleman's actual descendants. It's a really, really amazing documentary. Well, Queen of the Skies is the book, She did the book first, and then the documentary, which is discovering Bessie Coleman. So if you haven't checked out her story on Women Rock Wings digital magazine, definitely just hit the link in the bio and sign up to the community. It's free. You would get the magazine quarterly right in your inbox. So back to me starting in aviation, but starting Women Rock Wings to fill a gap that I really didn't see, which was storytelling, right? So we have wonderful organizations like With Our Wings, whose founder is on right now. It's so good to see you, Beth. Who, With Our Wings, WAI, and Sisters of the Skies, Black Women in Aviation. We have these organizations and they're phenomenal, and they provide so many resources. They provide networking opportunities. However, the component that we feel is the storytelling. It is so amazing to highlight not just the women who are, founding these organizations, but really highlighting the stories of the starts, the stops, the in-betweens, right? Because everybody's aviation journey does not look the same. Everybody's aviation, some people, their journey, it starts and they go straight through training, whether they're a flight attendant, whether they're a mechanic, whether they're a CEO, right? Or whether they're in jet sales, business aviation, right? But some people, like myself, have starts and stops because life happens. And for me, one of the main reasons I had to stop my training was because I got activated military-wise and had to go on a duty tour. And then when I came back, subsequently, other things like concurrently happened. So, right, but you have to figure it out yourself, like what's going to keep you going. And so many women have these stories, not just about their triumphs, but about their falls, right? And how did they recover? What did they learn? And in the process of getting up from any of these falls, that's where a lot of our stories lives. But when we tell our stories, we inspire other women to not only tell their story, but to live their story, right? Sometimes I think we get caught up in accomplishing a goal that we forget. Hi, Kai. We get caught up in accomplishing a goal that sometimes we forget to enjoy the process of achieving the goal. So sometimes, say for instance, you're going through a rating, no matter what field of aviation you're in, and you reach a stopping point, right? You have to take a pause for whatever that reason may be. It's okay to assess why you have to take the pause, but also understand that this is a part of your journey and it doesn't disqualify you once you start again, right? And as we engage in these stories, you'll see a lot of women whose stories, we only see the triumphant part, but the in-between is really where the endurance is built. It's really where your confidence is built. A lot of times we want to wait until we are confident to go and try again. However, confidence is really built in movement. Confidence is built in action. So it's not until we just really start again that we can trust ourselves. And in telling these stories, even through the magazine, I've learned that you have to listen to the voice that's inside of you, right? Because we're focused on the goal, which is fine, as we should be. However, sometimes we're so focused on achieving the goal that we forget to listen to ourselves. And so that's something I've learned in telling these stories. And that's one of the reasons why Clear for the Story was created. Is this was our roots. This is actually how we became even more known within the aviation community, because we literally had the opportunity to just sit down, talk with women, and have them express what their journey was like. And in between the journey, you could see the value of their story because of how it touched other people. For instance, we've had women on who went through training straight through ATP. We've had women on who've had to travel several miles in order to achieve their training and their ratings. We have women who thought they might want to be in a different career facet in aviation, but it turned out they wanted to be in another. And as you continue to see the value of these lessons, I think sharing them is so important because it allows other women and girls to see themselves, right? And understand even themselves better. And I think just through conversation, just through showing up, just through talking to each other, those are some of the most powerful moments that we could achieve. And I think sometimes people see aviation as just only technical, especially the people who are outside of it. But for the people inside of aviation, it's beyond career focus. It's being career focused. It's more than being technical. It's more than being structured. It's all of those things. However, it's also deeply personal. Generally, people within aviation love aviation, whatever it is that they do, right? A lot of us talk about just plane spotting, where every time we look up in the air and we see a plane, we just look at it's just amazing, right? It's a moment to stop. It's a moment to absorb. It's a refreshing moment. Something I used to do when I was just on duty on base was go to the back of the flight line and during my lunch and just park and watch the aircraft do touch and goes while I was, eating lunch. And it was just so relaxing, so amazing. And every time I would see a C-17 or a C-5 take off, I'm like, oh my gosh, how does it do it? You know what I mean? It's just something that we absorb. It's something that we love. And so outside of the technicalities, outside of the achievements, it's something that is innately ours. And these are the kind of stories we want to keep telling because it becomes a memory, it becomes identity, it becomes a part of how we see the world. And that is why another reason we are going to be bringing women on is because it allows other women and girls to see themselves, right? So the aviation bug may have bit you because you may have had a parent who was in aviation, you went to an air show and you just couldn't forget it. But sometimes that moment clicks for other people when they see people that look like them. And it is so powerful to see a living embodiment of yourself because it makes a connection that nothing else could make for you. To say that this is real, this is something I can do, and this is something that I can achieve. So watching Cleared for the Story, we want women to feel and see and know that they can do it too, not just beginning in aviation, but even if it's a career pivot. So for me, it was a career pivot to start flying. Even initially, when I first started, I thought I was going to go to the airline. I ended up not doing that, which is fine. There are so many paths to flying, right? And I really thought that this was going to be my life, but in that journey, right, in my pause, Women Rock Wings was born. So that's why I said there's so much value in any place you are in your journey. You just have to take time to say, where am I supposed to go from here? What am I learning in this moment? What is this moment teaching me about myself and those around me? And I don't think there's anything that's more powerful than having those realizations. So we really want women to show up in this space and say, that's me. And real quick, if you haven't, again, definitely just check out the current issue. I'm telling you, Captain Beth's story inspired me greatly. Just listening to her journey about creating Queen of the Skies, about Bessie Coleman, and doing it with her family. And, yesterday, or was it the 15th, I believe it was the anniversary of Bessie Coleman receiving her pilot's license in France. So, just all of these stories combined push and motivate us in our journey. So, all right, we've been here for a while, and obviously this is our first episode, so I'm going to say we're coming in for a landing, and we're going to go through our checklist really quickly. We love a checklist, right? And so just some fun things. So I'll be asking these questions, of course, to our future guests as well. So what is keeping me inspired right now? Honestly, women in aviation, just watching how there's so much like so many more women in aviation overall in every facet and capacity. Even since I started all the years ago as an aircraft electrician. And I would say one of my favorite things that was inspiring recently as well was the fact that Airworthy just came out, and it was put out by Aviation AIM. And as you know, they train AMT, so it was wonderful to see them take the initiative to tell the story of the, through the lens of different women who were in AMT training. What has aviation taught me about life? Oh, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Oh my gosh. I think any training in aviation, I haven't done it all, but I know flight training will humble you. So I would say get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And it also teaches you to be honest about where you are in your life and what I think, there's always growth and opportunity too. So I would say those things. I think what makes me, next question would be what would make me emotional about aviation? The fact that it does change. I see she said definitely, right? It does humble you. Let me see, what makes me emotional about aviation? It does change lives. It changes lives every day. And especially if you come from demographics like mine, right? Who we have not seen people that look like us at all. I worked as an aircraft electrician, as I said, for years, and I had never met a Black or female pilot after 10 years on the flight line. And I did not meet one until I actually became a chaplain. So that was exceptionally shocking. But being in the career field absolutely changes lives. Travel, pay, beginning generation wealth, like culture exposure is priceless. Being able to go different places around the world, I think, is phenomenal. Like even our flight attendants, right? They travel a lot, and you can't put a price on experience in different cultures, different foods, different ways of life, different languages. So I would say that makes me emotional about aviation. It changes lives. And then let me see, what would I tell the younger version of myself? See, I have to answer these questions first before I start asking guests these questions. Build things before you feel ready. That's what I would say. I learned kind of to be a leaper from my grandmother, who is a person heavy of faith. And the readiness comes from building. It absolutely does. And I'm not saying don't. And it's not because you're doing it carelessly, that there are no plans, but you're setting a plan and you're actually working it. And that, like I said a little bit earlier, that's really where confidence comes in. Confidence doesn't come from just thinking about something. Confidence comes in skill. It comes in building the thing that you set to build. And the more that you do it, the more confident you become. Anyone who's ever landed a plane knows that. Okay, so, let me see. We're almost done, y'all. So sunrise, y'all can answer this one in the chat as well. Sunrise departure or night arrival? What would you prefer? So for me, definitely, I love night arrivals. I'm from Brooklyn, so there is nothing like landing in New York. You just like, as you're passing over, the plane is like hitting a pattern and you just see the city, right? To me, there's nothing like it. Window seat or aisle seat, for me, always a window seat. I need to see what's happening. And the views, of course. Favorite aviation sound? Ooh, honestly, I love the sound of an aircraft starting. Okay, we have a sunset at night. Definitely. I love the sound of an aircraft, right? I love when you turn the plane on. That's one of my favorite sounds. Dream destination. Oh my gosh, I've been so many places, but one place I have not been yet that I am dying to go to is Nice. I love just all the pictures I've ever seen, and from my friends who have been, they keep telling me I need to go. I just haven't made it there yet. And let me see, coffee before call time. For those who drink coffee, but for me, it would be tea. I'm a tea drinker. I love tea. I don't actually drink coffee. I never have. Oh my gosh. I know that sounds insane. So many people don't believe me, but that's it for our checklist. But I would say thank you for checking in for Clear for the Story episode 1. Oh my gosh. Hi, Gabriella. Oh my gosh. Before I go, thank you, for your service, Gabriella. And she was one of our moms for the Moms Fly Plane campaign. And she's an aircraft mechanic. I don't want to get your aircraft wrong, but she's a whirly girl, so for helicopters. So thank you for your service. I hope your daughter's doing super well. And thank you so much for spending your afternoon, about 20 minutes Oh my gosh. So I'm not gonna, technically I'm supposed to be wrapping up, but I have to answer this question. It says, have you ever had moments where you felt like giving up? If so, what helped you push through and continue pursuing your goals? Okay, so we want to start with the hard questions. I would say absolutely. To be very transparent, even though I started as a mechanic and obviously completed my training, I did that for a decade. I have not completed my flight training, and I've been pursuing that off and on for about 5 years now. And it's been exceptionally difficult. I've definitely said, oh my gosh, I'm not going to do this, because obviously I keep having to stop for reasons. But if it doesn't leave you alone, that's what helps me keep pushing through. Like, I'm actually supposed to retake my written soon and then start back flying after that. So if it keeps nagging you, you will not be happy. That's what keeps me going. And if you know inside of you that this is your dream and this is your goal, you're going to have hard times. I say set a plan and work the plan the best way you can. Get in community. And I think that'll help you also to push through as well. Hopefully that answers your question. If you have follow-up questions, definitely DM us. Okay, so next question. What advice would you have for someone going into aviation for the first time? Oh my gosh, community, network. The reason why I say community is because there's so many different paths to aviation, and depending on what it is that you want to do in aviation, you should find a community that fits that, right? So if you want to be a mechanic, an aircraft mechanic, find that community. If you want to be a pilot, find that community. If you want to be a flight attendant, so on and so forth, right? A CEO, jet sales, anything in aviation business, media. There's so ramp life. Like, you have to get in where you fit in, right? Flight dispatchers, whatever that community looks like for you, join it. And there are so many communities that are open to an array of career fields in aviation. Like I mentioned earlier, WAI, Sisters of the Skies, BWIA. Let me see. Who am I missing? Women with Wings, Hoover with Hergis. Oh my gosh, the 99s, OBAB, LPA, NGPA. There are like so many communities, and you'll know what works for you. So definitely that would be my biggest advice, is like, find a community that fits. Go to events. They're fun. You get to know so many people from so many different places. And once you decide what your path is, then, also mentorship. And we'll talk about it later. I don't want to get too much into the second episode. But mentorship, I would say looking for a mentor is two ways. You don't just want to be like, I want a mentor. You have to be a good mentee as well. And what does that look like? So we'll be talking about that later. However, those would be my biggest things for, first time advice. And go to air shows, right? Like, that's another place people network, get to know each other. A great event that's coming up, like literally one of the largest events in aviation ever, is Oshkosh, in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, which is in July. So I would definitely say, go do that. Go to your local air shows. There are different like aviation companies that are, at these air shows. So you'll see what works for you. And, the biggest thing also is community. So again, I hope those answered your questions. And those answers, answered your questions. And just thank you for spending your time. I truly hope that you'll enjoy Cleared for the Story live as it grows. And thank you so much. And we will see you for episode 2. I hope everyone has a good day. Thank you. Bye.